Welcome everybody to our session today, and officially welcome to our brand new webinar series, which is called Wellness Living Academy. So this is going to be the first webinar under this umbrella where we're going to be breaking down some of the basics as sort of a supplement to the onboarding that you received from our team when you got started with us. So this webinar series is tailored to empower everyone from wellness living newcomers to seasoned users. You're all welcome to be here, and we're going to cover the most requested topics in our community forum, which is going to help you leverage our software to its fullest potential. So throughout the series, we'll lead you through tutorials, interactive discussions, and an open Q&A for all of our sessions to help you reach your business goals. So whether you are new to wellness living or you've been with us for a while and you're looking for a refresher, you have definitely come to the right place. So we'll start off with some introductions. You sort of briefly chatted with us through the chat, but officially, there are three of us here today that are going to be leading this webinar. So first up, we have Marylee Bussard, who is our Senior Product Experience Manager. I'm also joined by the lovely Ronaldo Tomizawa, who is one of our fantastic onboarding specialists. And then finally, my name is Caitlyn Drake. I am a product training specialist here at Wellness Living. And we're really excited to talk to you about our very first sort of topic in this series today, which is business policies. So specifically, we're going to touch on some of them that we know can be a little bit confusing when you're new to our software, but can have a really big impact on your day-to-day operations. So this is going to be an opportunity to review some of the policies that you selected and set up during your onboarding, and hopefully give you some clarification on some of the system's behaviors. So before we get into our actual content for today, we did want to start off by covering a few general things to think about as you're getting started with wellness living. And for that, I'm actually going to pass it over to Ron because I am curious. As an onboarding specialist, what are some of the considerations that you think new and experienced users of wellness living should make?
Thank you, Caitlin, and welcome everybody. So yeah, during onboarding, we cover business policies either in one of our training calls or is given as part of a homework. And sometimes it gets overlooked because the focus is on setting up services, purchase options, or looking into one of the amazing features that we have in Wellness Living, and it's completely understandable. And then later during onboarding, when we go over daily routines, sometimes business policy have a big impact on tasks like booking, and then we go back to the business policy to revisit and review it. So it's normal if you're using a software for the first time, if you're transitioning from one software to Wellness Living, or even now if you're using Wellness Living for a while, there's always something that could be beneficial to you, your business, or your clients when you're reviewing your business policies. So if you're new to a software, you might be asking yourself some questions. Where do we start? What features should I start using right away? Have I set up the software backend in the best way for my business? Maybe you've already been using Wellness Living to run your business for some time. Maybe there are some things that you missed during onboarding or didn't have the bandwidth for that at that time. It's never a bad idea to go back and revisit your business policies. And that's what we aim to do on the series. We help you clear both your strategies and backend implementation that will help you set up your business up to success. We have a lot of experience helping customers to do just that. And we also know every business is unique and there's no cookie cutter approach that would work for everyone.
That is absolutely right, Ron. And because of that, we're going to be sure to leave some time at the end for a live Q&A so that you can ask the questions that are relevant for your unique situation. During the webinar, we're actually going to close the main chat, but you can still use the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen. I'll be monitoring the Q&A feed along with my very good friend and colleague, Graham. Some of you who already use the Wellness Living community forum to find lightning fast answers to your pressing software questions will recognize Graham as the friendly face behind many of the video replies on the forum. And like me, Graham is a current Wellness Living customer and business owner, so he really knows his stuff. And thanks so much, Graham, for agreeing to help us out today. Speaking of the community forum, after today's webinar, we're going to continue the conversation over there, so be sure to visit us. We'll send a link to that thread in the follow-up email. But first, I love a good poll question. Who doesn't? So let's do a quick one just to see what we can learn about each other today. So you chose Wellness Living to help manage your business for a reason. And I'm curious, what were your primary pain points that you needed to solve when you onboarded with Wellness Living? So here's a list. You could choose up to 3. Maybe you were running your business with pen and paper, or you were using too many different software platforms to run the business. Maybe your processes were time intensive because they were manual. Maybe your income month to month was unpredictable. Communicating important information to clients was a challenge, or understanding your business performance metrics was tricky. Your sales were stagnant, or managing staff was difficult. So go ahead and pick 2 or 3 here, and we'll see. Give you a little bit more time.
Can I just say as well, one of my favorite parts of doing these webinars is you're all seeing the poll question, but on my end, I actually see a little window where I can see what you're all picking, just based on percentage. So we have a really good little bit of insight here into the choices that you're all making. And there are definitely a couple of things I think that are standing out right off the bat. A lot of you are finding having some similar struggles, which yeah, is always very interesting to see. So we'll give a few more seconds for that, I think, maybe.
Still coming in. All right. Oh, it's still coming in. Give it a few more seconds. All right. What do you think? It seems to have slowed down. All right. Shall we close the poll? Okay. Very interesting. So the winner is using several different software platforms to run your business. Yeah, 38% of you identified that as your top pain point. Then after that, it looks like stagnant sales, no way to capture and convert leads. Yeah, good one. And then, gosh, it's close. There's so many time-intensive processes, so manual processes rather than automated ones. And then we've got a tie for 4. Oh, no, we've got also a tie for 3rd, which is understanding business performance metrics. After that, communicating with clients and pen and paper management. So interesting. Well, the good news is all of these are problems that the software can solve. And we're excited to take you through some of those options over this series. And just before we move on, I do want to say that we know, especially having been a Wellness Living customer myself for a number of years, signing up for a new software is a really big decision. We super appreciate the faith that you've put into Wellness Living, and we want you to know that we are really here to help you succeed. We have a knowledge base with hundreds of support articles, and we're working to improve it daily. We're going to be adding a lot more videos to it in the coming weeks and months, so keep your eye on that. And if you haven't already, do visit us at the community forum. If you haven't been there in a while, you'll be delighted to see our response times tend to be under an hour, and Roger and Graham are just doing a bang-up job with responses over there. We're now adding videos. So we really do love it when you reach out to us with your questions and ideas, right, Graham? I think he'll agree. So yeah, Ron, you're up.
Yeah, so Marylee, just out of curiosity, can you share that with us a little bit? When you started your business, what did you want to do at first, right off the bat?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so as probably most of you here know, when you start your business, there is a lot to think about. And of course, since I've joined Wellness Living, I've just come to appreciate how different every single one of us are. There's such a wide variety of businesses and business needs. I personally started my business 14 years ago, and in my role before that as a studio manager, we used index cards to manage all of our client records. So when I started my own Pilates studio, mainly I just wanted to streamline client scheduling and payments. But then over time, I was able to aim a bit higher with my business goals. So I would just say that no matter whether you're a one-person shop or you have a large team of people to help you get your business off the ground, The first step to being successful when you start a business is really the same. It's identifying what you want to accomplish and then how you're going to do that. So my suggestion is just focus on your core needs first and then keep optimizing over time as you have more and more bandwidth, because there's always going to be things to improve on and tweak as your business evolves. And this series is going to break things down into bite-sized chunks or chewable doables, so it's not too overwhelming for you. What I'm personally most excited about is the workbook. So each episode, we're going to share a comprehensive workbook that was lovingly created for you by other wellness living business owners like me and Graham, who also use the software, in our day-to-day operations. We know what it's like to learn the software from scratch. We've been there. And so we want to make it easier and more fun for you and your staff to enjoy the fruits of wellness living mastery, because the better that you get at software, the better you're going to get at running your business.
Absolutely. And whoops. Oh, sorry, everybody. Okay, so there's actually a couple of parts to mastering wellness living or becoming a master at using our software. So I've got them here on the screen. So the first one is the back end. So that's where you're going to learn how to use the software, where to click, and how to get from point A to point B. And then there's the second piece, which is defining your strategy. So that is putting the pieces of the puzzle together. You will need to put in the time to evaluate what you want to accomplish with the software and how you're going to do that. So that's going to include things like thinking about your pricing model, your staff roles, and of course, your business policies. Now, Wellness Living, the software, can't decide your business and operational strategy. Only you are going to be able to do that. But that's where the backend setup can help prompt you to think about how you want your business to run. There is one really important element that you are going to need to make the transition to a new piece of software like ours successful, and that is getting buy-in from the people that work for you.
We know that it can be stressful for everyone at a business when you move to a new piece of software. So for this reason, we suggest that you consider designating someone in your business as a wellness living champion, or maybe two people. Maybe these are staff people who are a bit more tech savvy that you can rely on to provide assistance and get your other staff excited about getting into the system.
And we actually have on my screen right now a real life example of that from one of our very own customers. So I have here Natalie, who is a manager and wellness living software champion at Griffin's Boxing and Fitness in beautiful North Vancouver, British Columbia. So we chatted with Natalie a little bit, and she said, I was involved in setting up the entire system for Griffin's, allowing me to witness firsthand its functionality, user friendliness, and feature set. Transitioning from our old software to Wellness Living filled me with genuine excitement. This enthusiasm was contagious, making it easier for my staff to embrace and familiarize themselves with the various functionalities of the software. So thank you, Natalie, if you are watching, so much for providing that quote and your lovely image. And with that, we are going to move into our content for today. So I will leave you with this. Go out, find your businesses, Natalie, and start getting everybody excited.
Awesome. So now that we've talked about some of the basic considerations to make when you're getting started with wellness living, let's talk about more specifically about one we're going to cover during our demo today, which is business policies. We're going to follow Maria on the screen, a business owner at Maria's Fitness Empire. She set up her business policies for a variety of reasons, and we're going to show you how some of the choices she made can impact her day-to-day operations.
Awesome. Thanks, Ron. And with that, we're actually going to jump into the demo portion of our presentation today, which of course is going to take place in the Wellness Living software. So we're going to be going through and following along with Maria a little bit today. And we're right in Wellness Living, and she is currently logged in. So let's jump right in. She's signed in to the staff back office, and she's here in setup. She opened up that business tab and then went right into business policies. So let's take a look at some of the ones that she actually has set up. We're going to go through, not all of them, but we'll go through a bunch, and we're going to go a little out of order. But we'll send out the recording if you do need to rewatch this or anything, and please feel free to utilize that Q&A at the bottom of your Zoom window. So we're going to start off on the client settings tab down at the bottom. And one of the first things that Maria thought about when she was getting started with Wellness Living is how her clients were actually going to be able to sign in for their visits when they came in for services. So, with her old software, Maria or her staff had to manually check in each of their clients that came to visit. But now she's totally got this down to a science. So, Maria's Fitness Empire now directs clients to download the Achieve Client app so that they can sign themselves up, have a barcode generate right there on the app, and they can scan themselves in for their gym visits or services um, in pretty much one quick flow. So she does really like the Achieve Client app. Maria could also order key tags from us or use ones that she already has, like a physical key tag for a key ring. But she does tend to like the Achieve app just because it's a much more cost-effective option for her business. And her clients don't need to remember anything but their phones. So in order for that barcode to generate, she came to this client ID section and made sure to toggle on the setting to automatically generate client IDs for new clients. So this is going to make the system generate a random ID number for each client that gets created in her business. Client ID number is going to be what's required for the barcode to generate. So she could also enter a client ID number for each of her clients manually on their client profile one at a time, but that's not really realistic in her case because she does have a ton of clients. So with this enabled, all the new clients that she adds to the system are automatically going to have barcodes generate on the Achieve app. I can actually show you quickly what that looks like. Sorry. Just give me one moment to pull up my pretend. So please bear with me. We're going to pretend that what's on my screen right now is a phone or a very large iPad. So as an example, just to show you what that barcode looks like, when a client is on the Achieve app and they have a client ID associated with their client profile, they can come down to the My Profile section, and then they would be able to scan that barcode right on their barcode scanner at the business. So the client ID number with this client ID setting, it is going to be a random number, but she's good with that. If she was ever wanting to use something like a phone number for the clients or something like that, she could always come back and either toggle this off, go in and manually add them, or she can also go back and change them herself, again, one at a time, if she'd like it to be something other than the random number. Either option works, but for now, she's good with the random number so that that barcode can generate immediately for new clients. So another thing to know about Maria's Fitness Empire is that they are a family-friendly business. So they host classes for both adults and kids. And of course, some of those people are related to each other. So Maria can set up relationships between clients in the system, which is a way to link two client profiles together. So when she sets these up, she can also say what the relationship between clients is. So you might have two friends, you might have a parent and child, you might have spouses, lots of different options there. And because she has these relationships set up, she made sure to come down to her security tab, and then down at the bottom under access to related client profiles, she made sure to toggle on this first option here to display relationships on the client web app and the Achieve app. And then below that, there's a couple other options that she configured to suit the needs of her business. So we're actually going to start with this bottom toggle here. So she has this one enabled. So this toggle being on allows her clients to book services on behalf of their relationships without logging in as that person. They can just stay logged in as themselves and book for their child, their partner, whatever it may be. And that can be really super helpful in cases where maybe parents are booking for their kids, or you have a couple of people who are linked as friends in the system that like to come in for the same classes. One person has the ability to manage all of that and kind of make the bookings for everybody in the group if they'd like. So this one works really, really well for her because it does allow clients to set those bookings up for each other, but it doesn't let them log in as their relationship. So the access is a little bit more limited with this one. But looking at the second toggle, clients can get way more access to their relationships profiles when the second one here is enabled. So when this is on, this will actually let the clients log in as each other. So this can be really helpful in cases where parents need to manage their kids' accounts, but she did previously run into an issue where a kid was signing in as their parent and changing profile details in the parent's account. So she decided to come, and under relationship types, she just decided to allow clients who are parents to log into their child's account, but not the other way around. So parents log in as their kids, manage their profile details, all that good stuff, but a kid can't log in as their parent. And that seems to be working really well for them here. So next up, we're going to head up to our booking tab. So when Maria got started with the software, another thing that she really had to think about was her minimum and maximum booking times for her services. So one of the classes that they offer here at Maria's Fitness Empire is Olympic weightlifting. So this is one of those classes where they need to set up all the equipment. Weights are very heavy. And if there's more than 5 people signed up in the Olympic weightlifting class, they often bring in an extra spotter just to make sure everybody's safe. So what she did was she set up a minimum booking window of 6 hours before the start time of a session. So people can book into this class up to 6 hours before the start time, and that allows them to have ample time to prepare for all of their classes. If they need to call in additional help or an additional assistant or spotter, then they're going to be able to do that because they'll have that 6 hours notice before the session starts to see how many people are actually in that class. For the maximum booking time, she actually did quite a long maximum booking window. So she's given everybody 3 months before a session starts to be able to book into their sessions. So she did this nice long window because she wanted her clients who like to plan ahead be able to reserve their spots. Now, with having a long booking window like this one, she has found that her cancellation rates can be a little bit higher because sometimes clients have things come up if they book really far in advance and they need to cancel their sessions, but most of the time they make it. So this 3-month window works really nicely for her business because it lets them fill up their spots a few months in advance, and their client base typically is able to make it even if they are booking quite far ahead. So there were a few other things just on this booking tab, because there's a lot of toggles on this page. There were a few other things she had to look at on this page as well when she was getting started. So another one of the services they offer is pole fitness. And with those, they host small group appointments. So Maria did run into a little bit of an issue previously where there were some unwanted visitors to these pole fitness appointments, but she was able to come back later and review this page, and she did find a way to add a little bit of extra security for that session. So she came back later after everything was kind of up and running, and she toggled on this business policy here for clients must sign in to view available appointments. Now, her clients are required to sign into their accounts to see these appointments on the schedule. But that extra step of having the clients put in their username and password has added some peace of mind for the clients because they know that these appointments are not going to be viewable to anyone who's not a client of this business. Then when clients actually come in for any service, it could be an appointment, it could be something else, typically they are either going to pay the drop-in rate, or they'll use a purchase option, which for those of you that are new, it could be a session pass, it could be a membership, or it could be one of those that's part of a package the client has purchased. Now, for some of her purchase options, she has a contract attached to that purchase option. So it includes the terms and conditions, cancellation information, and any other relevant restrictions. So clients are required to sign these contracts before they can use those purchase options, but sometimes they don't sign immediately. So Maria came in and she decided to restrict her staff from from booking clients who are using purchase options with unsigned contracts. So keeping in mind that this can add an extra step when staff are trying to book clients for a service and then the client needs to go in and actually sign that contract. But it has been a really good way to make sure that the clients are actually reading their contracts, and she's able to make sure that those signatures are actually collected because they would, of course, have to sign and indicate that they understand the terms and conditions. And then in terms of clients booking themselves, she decided to allow clients to book multiple appointments. Oh, sorry, down at the bottom, multiple appointments. So with this, it has been great for her business because it lets clients book more than one appointment in the same booking flow, which saves a ton of time. So clients, of course, are always able to book an appointment, go back in, book another appointment, but allowing them to book multiple appointments just keeps it within that same sort of one transaction, one flow kind of situation. So underneath that, though, she chose not to enable the one for back-to-back bookings. So because this is a fitness business, clients don't typically book a lot of back-to-back appointments that are on the same day. They'll typically come in, get their workout in, and then go home. So she decided to not let them book back-to-back appointments in the same sort of booking process. But if Wellness Living Academy, or sorry, if Maria's Fitness Empire ever totally pivots and changes over to something like a day spa, she might want to consider having this one on so that clients can come in, get their manicure, pedicure, facial, all back-to-back at the same time without having to book all three of those appointments separately in three separate booking flows. Now, Ron, I'm going to actually tap you on the virtual shoulder a little bit. One of the things on this page that we've definitely chatted about in the past is that some of these policies refer to appointments, and some of the policies refer to either sessions or services. So is there a difference between an appointment versus a session or a service? Are you able to speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, Caitlin. So when you're setting up your booking policies in the business policies, as you go over the toggles and the settings, it's important to understand the difference. So when you see sessions, like Caitlin explained during the setup for the Maria's Empire Fitness Empire, some of the toggles are meant for sessions, some of them are specific to appointments. So it's important to know which one you're turning in on or off and setting the proper time. So that's one thing to consider. The second thing is when you're setting up your booking policies in the business policies, think big picture. Because if you have like you might have a class or one appointment that you want to set a different booking policy, you can do that in the service level. Okay, so think big picture, do your booking policy. If you have one specific class or appointment that you want to set a different policy, you can do that in the service level.
Awesome, which is super helpful. So all the policies in business policies are going to apply kind of globally to your entire business. But if, for example, maybe you wanted to have a situation where a specific class did need a little bit longer of a minimum booking window, you could actually configure that right in the setup screen for that class as well. So you do have a little bit of flexibility there, which is always good. So thank you, Ron, for the insight. And we'll keep trucking along. So another thing that Maria had to consider when she was getting started was how she wanted Wellness Living software to handle her automatic attendance tracking, or what happens with clients when a service ends. So she came into her attendance tracking tab and she set up some options for both in-person and virtual services because she offers both. So for in-person services, she selected that after an in-person service ends, clients who weren't marked as checked in will be automatically marked as pending. So this option is good for the process that she's built for her business, which is where staff members actually go and manually verify the attendance at the end of class and record that in the system. So if it's not recorded for a client, they'll just stay marked as pending, and that can be addressed later on if needed. Couple of other options, she could choose checked in. So anyone not marked as checked in would be marked as that immediately, or same thing, she could mark anyone not checked in as no show, but pending seems to be the one that works really well for her. And then since she also provides some online classes, some virtual sessions, she had to decide the same thing for those. So online can be a little bit tougher for her, she finds, just because you can't always see everybody's face. So to save herself some time, she set the toggle here at the bottom to on so that when clients join the virtual session that she's hosting using the join button or the join link in their confirmation email, they're going to get automatically marked as checked in. Later on, though, if she maybe finds that she wants to use the same process for virtual sessions that she does with in-person ones, where the instructor would take attendance at the end, she can always come back, toggle this setting off, and then she can choose the status that she wants virtual clients to be marked as once the service ends. And again, you've got your checked in, no show, or pending options. So sometimes another really cool thing that she does is she will sometimes bring in outside instructors to lead virtual workshops. And those instructors always have their own Zoom accounts. So they're going to be hosting what's called a non-integrated virtual service, which is a virtual service using a Zoom account or Google Meet account, other type of virtual software that's not integrated with Wellness Living. So because of that, she has opted to let clients join those sessions up to 15 minutes before they're scheduled to start, even if the instructor isn't there yet. Just gives everybody an opportunity to chat and get to know each other as a way to encourage some community building between her clients. So those are her two options for virtual services. Now, Ron, actually, I'm going to tap you again. Probably we'll do this a couple more times, but I actually have another question for you. So Maria went ahead, we'll use in-person as an example. So Maria went ahead and she selected that after an in-person service ends, mark the client as pending, right? And that can be addressed later. What would be a situation in which maybe you might want to have people marked as checked in automatically?
Yes, thank you, Caitlyn. So for businesses that, for example, don't have online booking or clients they don't book in advance, sometimes you might have constant walk-in clients for your classes. So you have your front desk, client comes in, they say, I want to take this class. You add them to the attendance list or to the session, and then they walk into their class. For those scenarios, you can easily set, as you see on the screen, as a check-in because they're physically there. They came to the front desk, they're going to attend the session. So you can eliminate that extra step to check them in. Just by booking them, you know that they're there. At the end of the session, we'll mark them as a check-in.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah. So for Maria, pending, but that was a great example of when maybe a business might want to do checked in. And again, your third option there is no show. Okay, so one of the phenomenal things about Maria's Fitness Empire is that they are very fortunate to have a lot of their classes fill up to the max capacity, especially on Saturday mornings. They tend to get very, very busy during those times. So Maria wanted to make sure that she had her wait list set up for this exact reason. So as many clients as possible can attend these sessions, and it also helps make sure that they stay full, even if somebody in the class cancels their spot. So she actually just enabled the waitlist for her classes, even though she offers other types of services. Classes seem to be sort of the most popular one at the moment, so she just uses it for those, but certainly she could always come back and add additional options for the waitlist for other types of services if that changed in the future. She also decided to let her clients join the waitlist unpaid. So they're able to join the waitlist without paying in advance. And then if they get promoted, then the staff can use the client's purchase option or charge them the drop-in rate when they actually come in for the session and just sort of figure it out when the client comes in. With the waitlist as well, one of the things that she did was she wanted to apply a limit to the number of clients that can be on the waitlist for any given session at a time. So she did this because previously she did not limit the wait list. It was toggled off. And it was sort of getting to the point where it was getting a little unmanageable. So tons of people would be on the wait list. And she was finding that people often weren't getting promoted because there were so many people waiting. So because of that, she decided to go with a max of 5 people on the wait list for any of her classes. But she could always come back and raise this later or potentially even lower it to something like 3 or 4 if she needed. So once our clients on the wait list get notified that someone's canceled, so there's a spot opened up for them in the actual class, she also had to decide how she wanted that to work. So in her case, looking under waitlist promotion, there are a couple options, but in her case, it made the most sense for clients to be notified of an open spot on the wait list in the order that they joined the wait list. And then she gave them 6 hours to confirm that they actually want that spot in the class before it's passed on to the next person. Another option she could have gone with is that clients are automatically promoted to a spot in the class when one opens up in the order that they join the wait list. But when she tried that one out initially, she was finding that some clients were getting automatically promoted to a spot in the class and then pretty much immediately canceling their spots because they couldn't make it anymore. So for her, it was better to ask clients to confirm their spots so she could make sure as many spots as possible were filled with clients who actually intended to come to the class. Now, speaking of clients canceling their spots, let's take a quick look at the policies she set up around cancellation. So as we said, we all know sometimes things come up, sometimes clients cancel, and unfortunately, they also occasionally no-show for their services. So she has her late cancellation period set to 24 hours. So this just means that if clients cancel their own bookings with less than 24 hours notice before their service starts, they'll be considered a late cancel by the system and will have to pay as if they attended the service. Staff with the appropriate permissions do have the ability to override them being a late cancel. If the client calls in to actually cancel, they've got a good reason, even if it's less than 24 hours. If they talk to a staff member, that staff member could mark them as what's called an early cancel, and then the late cancellation period would not apply in those cases. Now, in order to save some time for her front desk staff, she also enabled this toggle underneath that allows clients to cancel their own appointments. So this one being enabled just means that she's letting clients cancel their own bookings on the client web app and the Achieve app. Otherwise, they would have to call every single time and a staff member would have to cancel their booking for them. So letting clients cancel their own appointments works for her. It just saves some phone calls at the front desk, which is nice sometimes. Now, most of her clients are awesome and give lots of notice if they need to cancel or won't be able to make it. But she also had to put some thought into what would happen if some of her clients were to frequently cancel or no-show. So initially, one of the considerations she made was having a blanket policy for all clients, where if they were to late cancel or no-show one time, the system would automatically charge them 100% of their missed service cost. But she was finding that in some cases that was a little bit inflexible. So as she was looking at this and then started developing the purchase options for her business, she actually came up with a system that still will penalize clients who late cancel or no show, but she actually created something based on certain memberships that clients can purchase. So because of all of that, she actually decided to set up 2 different penalties depending on the client type that the client has. So she's got one here for clients that have her bronze membership, and then one for clients with the gold membership that are going to be applied on top of any charges related to the late cancellation period. So this is all going to be in addition to anything for late cancel. So with the one here at the top for the bronze membership, she has it set so if somebody with the client type of bronze membership has one, either late cancel or no-show, either or, in 60 days, then they will be charged $15. In addition, of course, to their visit not being returned to their pass or membership if they late cancel within that 24-hour period. However, one of the perks of the gold membership is that there's a little bit more lax of a cancellation policy. So for clients that have this gold membership, they can have 2 no-shows in 30 days before their account gets flagged, but nothing will happen if they were to late cancel, no additional charge. Their account's just going to be flagged, and that's only if they have 2 no-shows in 30 days. So when an account is flagged, all that's going to happen for gold members is the client will be prevented from booking their own appointments online. All they have to do to get that flag removed is call the business, they can phone the front desk, and once they've spoken to a staff member, the staff member can very easily remove that flag on their client profile. So that one seems to work really well for her. She's got a little bit of flexibility, and the bigger spenders do, of course, as part of their membership, benefit from a little bit more of a relaxed cancellation policy for them as well. All right, so we're going to go back to a tab we've already looked at, which is our security tab. And good news, clients have started to arrive. So Maria needs to actually go and teach her sessions now, which means she's going to have to walk away from her computer. So we know now that Maria's Fitness Empire is sort of a general fitness business, but what if they were something like a med spa? That might be a case where she's handling clients' sensitive health information, things like that. So if she was going to walk away from her computer in that case, looking under security, she might want to say that we're handling sensitive health information. I want staff to be logged out after 2 minutes of inactivity. So if nothing happens on their account for 2 minutes, system's going to log them out. But because Maria's Fitness Empire is more of a general business, they're not as concerned about someone using the computer to access anyone's information because there's usually somebody up at the front desk. Sometimes, though, staff do have to leave to go clean equipment during classes. So for her business model, she went with something like just a 30-minute window. So basically, if your front desk person walks away, they're still logged in. After 30 minutes, Wellness Living will log them out. They just have to re-log in again. So all of that being said, everybody, that covers our super high-level overview of Maria and some of the business policies that she selected, along with the reasons why. So since we covered so much today and you've heard a lot of my voice, I'm actually going to pass it over now to Marylee, who is going to fill you on a very exciting bonus we're going to send out to all of you along with today's recording.
Thank you, Caitlyn. Great job. I just want to put a plug in for the workbook. So we put a lot of effort into creating this workbook. It's going to take you step by step through all of the questions to ask yourself, considerations for every single business policy, so that you can really think about which policies are right for your business. We also have customer stories in there. So if you'd like, you can do some homework after the session today, and then maybe come on over to the community forum and continue the conversation. And am I correct that we're going to be dropping that link in the chat here, or is that going in the follow-up email? I am not sure.
Workbook?
Is the link going into the...
I've heard it's going to be going out in the email, which is
follow-up
apparently going to
email.
come
Okay.
tomorrow.
Okay, great.
So all of you should get the recording for this, even if you're not watching live. If you just signed up for this and weren't able to attend, you'll get this recording. And then those of you that are here as well will get it along with the workbook. So you can look out for that tomorrow.
Fantastic. It is worth the wait, guys. It's really great. We're really proud of it and excited that with every single one of the episodes in this series, we're going to create a workbook like this so that pretty soon you will master the entire software just like that, easy peasy. So yeah, thank you for coming today. This was great job, Caitlyn. And like I said, if you have further questions, come hang out with me and Roger and Graham over on the community forum, and Ronaldo may even. All right, that's all I got, Caitlyn. You want to take us out?
Awesome. Yeah. Okay. Well, we will end it here a couple minutes early. As Marylee said, please head over to the community forum. We would love to see you over there. We'll get all your questions answered. And again, just to reiterate, we will send out the recording, the workbook, everything that we mentioned will be coming to you in the next 24-ish hours. So keep an eye on your inboxes for that. Thank you, Marylee and Ron, for being here with me today. It was great to have you both on board. And I am sure we will be seeing hopefully all of you again very soon. So thanks, everybody.